Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
For a lot of these podcasts, I do a lot of research. I go on newspapers.com. I go search a lot of stuff. For you, I listen to a lot of music, and I watched a movie last night.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the movie, I told you, I forgot that you were in a movie. I don't know how I forget that you were in a movie until I was stumbling across. I was trying to find the song Room 222.
226.
226, yeah. It's been a couple years since I got to hear it.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find that, and I find that little clip where you did a little video saying I did a movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
And so I watched it last night, and it was pretty good. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was a good film. It was fun.
You played a pretty good bad guy
there. Red Benton, don't mess with me.
So that's one thing I was looking at is all these guys coming in costume. You know, they're all makeup and everything. You probably just walked right off the street with the long hair and the beard to play that role.
Yeah, I've done like 5 feature films in the last 3 years, and the hair and beard helps.
Is that no one tells you to cut the beard?
I had one opportunity that was pretty big, and they said I'd have to cut my beard, and I was like, no thanks.
Wouldn't do it, huh?
No.
Yeah, you told me, or you told the crowd that there's a word for people without beards.
Women and children.
Yeah, which I shave last like on Sunday or Monday.
Oh, wow.
So I can't physically grow a beard if I'd have one if I could.
So you don't have to do anything. Just grow it out. I have like a patch. We call it an Apache beard. Apache here, Apache there.
Yeah.
Long enough it connects.
Yeah. I can't even do that though. It's like I'm a 12-year-old or so.
We'll give you a pass.
I get a pass this time. So, I was listening to some more of your songs on the way down. I think I told you years ago, I was remodeling my house. I had to redo the bathroom. So for about 3 straight weeks, I was working every day, and I just had Tim Montana music, tried to listen to just about every song you had during those 3 weeks. And there's a few of my favorite ones. And of course, Butte America is one I play.
Yep.
I play that every Legion game.
Yeah.
When I'm announcing, I make sure I play that game at least one. A lot of Tim songs in the Legion.
Yeah.
But you played that on Letterman. You could have played any song to promote your career, and you played one that probably doesn't have the reach just because, it's a Butte, it's for people from Butte for more than anything, What made you pick that song?
Someone finally caught on to this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to shout out Butte because I thought I've treated every big moment in my career as like, what if this is it? Right. Because we're lucky, fortunate, and blessed to do what we do for a living. What if this is it? And that was like my first big moment. But I'm like, what if this is it? And I was like, what do I want to do? And I'm like, I want to shout out Butte, America, the town where, people come see me at the pep rally at East Middle School or the talent shows at Butte High School or any of those things or the McQueen Club back in the day. And I was like, if this is my only big moment in music and it's over after this, what do I want to do? I want to shout out my hometown.
Yeah.
Plain and simple,
That was pretty. Did Letterman say anything about that song? Afterwards, you can get
really. He let me pick the song, but I mean, he also discovered me in Choteau, Montana. So,
oh, did he?
Yeah, I was very connected to Montana. I played the rodeo over there, and he showed up. And about 2 months later, his booking agent called, and I about fainted in Guitar Center, Nashville, of all places. And was like, "Hey, Dave wants to be a personal guest." And it's different if your label or management pitch the late show or any of these TV shows, and they say, "Yes, you pay for all your travel, you pay for all your accommodations. It's expensive."
Yeah.
If Dave invites you, CBS pays for all your travel. Wow. So we got a 4-star hotel. We thought we were king of the world. I was scared to fly at that time. I don't think I ever admitted this. So I drove up my wife's minivan.
You drove out to New York?
In a minivan, yeah. From Nashville.
That's
a haul.
Yeah, that's got
the band flew, and the band called me. They're like, "Dude, you're an idiot." There was a guy from CBS with a suit on, holding a sign in LaGuardia Airport that said "Tim Montana, guest of CBS," and I'm in a minivan driving through Virginia at the time, scared to death of airplanes.
Yeah, you're like John Madden.
Oh yeah,
you just take the bus everywhere.
I fly a lot now. I had to get over it. For years it was medication and alcohol, then medication, and now it's nothing.
Yeah, you can do it without.
Yeah. I don't love it, and I'm not a guy that sleeps on an airplane, but I'm just like, if it's my time, it's my time.
That's awesome. That you played that, though. I don't know how many. Do you hear about that a lot from people from Butte that you played that song?
Yeah, people that know. And I remember when I came home, there were a couple businesses that had, things up on under their signs, congratulating me, and I thought that was really cool. And Yeah, that was a big moment, man. That was a special moment. 2008, and I chased that. I kind of for a lot of years was like mad at Dave because he gave me a taste of the big time right away.
Yeah,
I was super green. I was in my early 20s. I didn't have a record deal, management deal, nothing. I had no deal.
Yeah,
I was a stay-at-home dad with a guitar, and I got that opportunity. And for like, took me another 15 years after that to get a record deal. So
no
like
kidding.
year 10, I was like, damn you, David Letterman. You gave me a taste of something that I'm not going to get.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of stayed with it. Now I can, comfortably say I make a living making music, which is, everyone's like, do you feel like you made it? I hate that question. I'm like, I don't know, because it's all, you're an artist, right? It's not about fame or success. It's about creating art. And if there's a market for your art. And so that's a weird thing of like, I always want the next project to do better than the last. That's how I gauge it. Does it blow up and am I flying in a private jet? Who knows, right? That's always out there, but I get to make a living doing what I love to do. So it's like, I'm in the 1% already, So it's pretty cool and I'm fortunate for it.
That's what I think I like about you is it's like you don't care if you make it. There's an honesty to your music.
Right.
And I think Springsteen is a lot like that. There's honesty in his music. I mean, you're singing about your houses on wheels and cars on blocks because, that's what you live.
Yeah. And that's why it didn't work for me in the country genre. I've had success as a songwriter for other artists, but it's weird. The songs that work for other artists were songs I was kind of writing from a me perspective. Yeah. Right? Edgier, but in rock and roll, for the first time ever, I feel like I have the steering wheel. When I was writing for trying to get on this machine called country radio, I'd have other writers in there and they'd be like, dude, you can't say that, brother. You just can't. That doesn't work. It doesn't fit. It's just such kind of a Southeastern thing, like the guys from Georgia and this and that. There's people from other places that have made it, but there's a box and you have to be inside that box of what you're writing about. Very few guys have made it writing outside of that box. And the ones that have, kudos to them, Stapletons and Waylands and stuff like that. But, in rock and roll, it's like I have the steering wheel because I can write about dark experiences, good experiences. You can cuss. It's a freedom of creativity that I've never had. And the funny thing is, if you went and saw me play when I was in high school, I'm playing the music now I was playing in high school. Really? Playing Nirvana and Stained and hard rock. And it's like, I want to be grunge, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. And now I'm touring with these guys. If they're still alive, I've been on the road with them in the last 2 years, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty.
Yeah, we're going out on the Creed cruise is our next big show. So we go out with Creed and Daughtry. And I'm just like, get to be a fanboy because there's this massive resurgence going on of rock and roll right now. So
yeah. And the thing about country music is what you're describing the country music machine is why I don't like country music like I used to.
Right. Old country and stuff's great.
Yeah. The new stuff though, it seems like, of course, there was a kick for a while where people were mentioning names of famous singers,
right,
and stuff, and there's they're trying to redo other songs, and they're, and it's just a phoniness to it that
there it is. Like. And my kids, it's the funniest thing. I was talking to them because they live in Montana now. All of my children were born in Nashville, Tennessee.
No kidding. Man.
And there's a lot of things they miss about Nashville. And the other day, my 9-year-old said, you know what I don't miss about Nashville? Country music. It's terrible at it. They all look the same, sound the same, and sing about the same stuff.
Yeah.
But then they got up here and they realized that a lot of people love it up here. And they're like, man, I'm like, rural America's the audience, but it's just kind of a machine of the same. Right? Yeah. And with rock and roll, I can go from the Pixies to Daughtry to Collective Soul, and it's so different. And they can sing about what they want and they can say what they want. It's just cool. It's freedom. Yeah.
Do your kids listen to your music?
They do. My 4-year-old's a huge fan.
Yeah.
My 17-year-old, not so much. She's a big critic of my stuff. She's into pop music. And it's interesting watching them gravitate to the rock that I grew up with, though, because that resurgence happening. My son comes out of the room. He's like, Dad, Alice in Chains is really good. My daughter got on Nirvana. It was right before I moved to Montana. It was Father's Day. I was coming up here to look at the Wise River Club to inspect it, like a building inspection. And she said, hey, Dad, it'd be really cool if you didn't go to Montana and you would take me to the Foo Fighters at Bonnaroo. And I was like, huh? And she goes, I didn't want to tell you because it was weird that I'm liking the same music my dad grew up, but I'm in a Nirvana phase and I want to meet Dave Grohl. And I was like, wow, my wife's like, you should probably cancel your trip and take her to meet Dave Grohl. And we did it. And it was like a really special moment. Dave was pretty busy, but he said hi real quick. But Pat Smear, who's also in Nirvana, Unplugged in New York, who's in Foo Fighters now, he really took a liking to Savannah. And she walks up and he's like, man, your name's Savannah, man, like a Savannah cat, man. Those are big cats, right? And I just see my little, I think she was 13 or 14 at the time, just looking up at Pat Smear. You got to say his name right because I'm not a gynecologist.
Yeah.
Looking up
That's
at
close
guy.
one, yeah.
And then it was about 6 months after that, we'd moved to Montana. And then I hear that the Foos are playing Big Sky for a private party, Big Sky, Montana. So we went over, and then Savannah got a lot of one-on-one time with Dave Grohl.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool getting to connect those dots. I'm like,
That's going to be cool to be able to do that for your daughter. You know, my daughter, who's almost 16, she wants to see Billie Eilish more than anything, you know, and one of her friends flew to Miami to see her, you know, and I'm like, well, I don't make fly to Miami to see Billie Eilish money on a podcast just yet.
Yeah. Exactly.
but I'd like to take her. But one of these days I'm going to take her. I took my oldest daughter to 21 Pilots, and she was,
cool.
They were, that was a great concert.
Both great bands.
Yeah. I really like 21 Pilots. And I knew one song of theirs when I went into the concert.
Right.
And I still, you know, enjoyed it. It was probably,
But then you probably recognized 6 more.
Yeah, I did. I recognized a few more, but it was all good, and I learned a lot more, the new one, you know. So it was good stuff.
Yeah.
But and they put on a good show, and that's something you do too. I don't know how many people you get at some of your shows when you're touring around, but I think the first time I saw you, or the second time I saw you once at like Evil Days.
Yeah.
And then you played for Matt Vincent's campaign party.
Yeah.
Back in 2016. And by the time you started, I think there's probably less than 100 people there.
Yeah.
And you guys played like you were playing in front of a sold out crowd at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
You know, you put the same show, and I thought that was just awesome. It was so cool being there.
Yeah. I've played to smaller crowds, and people don't like talking about, I don't care about talking about that. Right? I'll show up, play for 2 people like I'm playing for 1,000.
Yeah.
Those people remember it. And it was cool to see in the ZZ Top documentary. When they were starting out, they have this show in Texas somewhere, and they pulled up and the curtain opens and there's one dude, and the dude looked around and went to bail, and the band stopped him. Please don't leave. We want to play to you. We'll buy you a Coke. And they played a whole ZZ Top set, and they call him the guy. Yeah. And they said to this day, he still shows up and has free tickets.
Okay.
In his ZZ Top show, because he was the one guy at the one show.
That's awesome.
That ZZ gave a private concert to. You know, that's part of growing. I mean, you got to I think a lot of artists, I can tell, cannot handle that. And it's not the talent, right? Like, work ethic wins every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's in any facet of life, right? Work ethic always wins. If a guy's not that good at a thing, if he outworks the dude that's better, he's going to win. Yeah. Right. And that's where I see some of these younger artists that come to me and they're just like, oh, they got this and that. I'm like, great songs, great work drive. Are you willing to sleep in Walmart parking lots and, you know, basically get humiliated a lot and turn that humiliation in your brain into, you know, studying, right?
Yeah.
Like, go play an empty show, have someone tell you suck on the internet. Can you handle that? Because if the answer is no, then you're in the wrong business, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing some of these folks coming up.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned the one guy that stayed for ZZ Top, because Oak Ridge played, we had a party one time and Chad played for us at the KC. And when he started playing his music after all our talking and stuff was done, he starts playing and no one's paying attention to him. And there he's singing, you know, Big Whole River and you know, all these great songs, and no one's listening to him. I was like, Chad, I'm so sorry. Cause I was listening, you know, and he goes, it happens all the time. And that's probably part of the thing is people, and Oak Ridge just singing some great songs.
Right.
You know, so you hear people just drown him out like he was like on the jukebox or something. You know?
Yeah. It's a common thing. If everyone's gone through it, I did it for years, and shoot, there's still some venues I play on the East Coast that will have 20 to 50 people, and that's okay. I mean, the fact that I'm like, these people are live that far from where I'm from and show up to see me is fine.
Yeah.
You know? But then you get out on it. I like opening shows for big bands. I like the excitement of no one knows me. Right?
Yeah.
That's thrilling to me, because now I have an opportunity to win them over. And they usually start the show with their arms folded, looking at their phones, and I'll come out hard, and I crank up my stage banter. Is a lot of people would argue better than my music. They're like, the stuff you say between songs is nuts. And I get people laughing. They're like, dude, this is like a part comedy show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just rant on stage about funny stuff and try to make people forget about, as Billy Joel said, forget about life for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that, because I'll watch arms folded first song. Then they start loosening up. Then all of a sudden, Hands in the Air by song 3. I'm like, got him.
Yeah. That's how I was when I went to see the Gin Blossoms with the girlfriend in college back in like 90, 95, 96. And the refreshments opened for 'em.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, wow. And it was like a couple of days later, they were on Letterman and their album was coming out the next day.
Right.
You know, Fizzy, Fuzzy, Big and Buzzy, which is still one of my all-time favorite albums.
Right.
But it was pretty cool just to discover somebody like that. And you probably see that the other way, obviously quite a bit.
I remember going to see Chris Stapleton when his band was called the Johnson Brothers at 12th and Porter, and they never broke. And then they'd go play this same bar I was playing in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And then I got to write a song with Chris and Billy Gibbons, and he was a big songwriter, but he hadn't connected with an audience yet. He had the Steel Drivers, he had the Johnson Brothers, and I rolled with both those bands, right? Just loved going to see him in small barbecue joints. And then everyone's like, look at Chris Stapleton. I'm like, I remember when he was trying to figure it out, couldn't do it with bluegrass, couldn't figure it out with his rock band. And then that defining moment I'll never forget, because it's hard to find a moment that breaks a band. It was him at the CMA Awards with Justin Timberlake. Yeah. And they still have memes of the guys' faces in the audience that are the Nashville executives that are used to the same machine. And all of a sudden their eyes are huge, their jaws are dropped because they're just blown away with pure talent, right? Yeah. Like you cannot mistake that guy. Yeah. So
that's good stuff. And when your kids listen to your songs, if they hear stuff like Cars on Blocks and stuff, do they appreciate what they have compared to what you grew up with? Because I believe you lived in a trailer.
Yeah, single wide with an outhouse.
Yeah, there was no running water.
Oh, we had running water.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it was
that's in my little documentary. And before I was born, my siblings lived in a house that didn't have running water.
Oh, okay.
So we always had running water. But we had a generator off grid. But yeah, I think they do. But I always worried. It's like funny. I do a lot of thinking about stuff, and it's like the iconic artists are made from that. If you look at stories like Johnny Cash, those guys grew up rough childhood. There's a thing with an absent father or an abusive father. It's a big deal. Tom Petty, Johnny Cash, when I go down the list of artists that change music, and there's something to do with the father figure not being there, right? Yeah. But then you get to the rock stars' kids that grow up and they can hear mom and dad's stories, and then I don't know, it's like a generation of, they're like, entitled. So I'm always thinking about that of like, please don't be the entitled. Not that we're extremely wealthy people, we're not, we're very fortunate, but I just worry about that a lot. Of like, they didn't grow up hustling. And, you know, I used to have to fight for my instruments and sneak them to Butte High School to play guitars. I wasn't allowed to play them in the house. And then I buy my daughter like an Eric Clapton signature Stratocaster. It's been played 5 times. Yeah. I'm like, I would have killed for this. Do I need to like buy a trailer and put it behind our house? Yeah. Try to emulate my childhood. Mine was the violence.
So you weren't allowed to play your guitar?
Yeah. My mom's former husband was not a good guy. I wasn't allowed to go to out on dates. Wasn't allowed to go to town. It was, and I actually enjoyed going to school as much as I didn't like school because it got me out of there.
Really?
At 3:00, I'd watch that bell ring. Great, here we go. Stacking wood, moving rocks, just labor all the time.
No kidding.
Yeah, I just never stopped. And then, you know, the only thing I had was a guitar. And I think he realized at some point that I was giving that guitar a lot of attention, and it was an escape for me. He was just kind of a guy that wanted me to be as miserable as possible as a child. So then he started taking the guitar away. Wow. So my mom would help me sneak it out the back window of the trailer, drop it out the window. She'd go load it in the truck in Elk Park. And then I'd walk by. He'd make sure I didn't have an instrument. And I'd get in the truck and I'd go to Butte High. And so my shop teacher, Dennis Shea, would allow me to write notes.
My next door neighbor.
Yeah. Mr. Shea would write notes for me to be able to. Tim needs to work on his transmission. He knew I needed to play guitar.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There were several teachers that assisted me with that. And it was the kind of vocational guys, mainly Mr. Shea, but Mrs. Perusich would also let me set up in the choir room in that back room and play guitar at school. I mean, but I had to drive for it. And it's like you try to take something away from a child that he's passionate about. Yeah. You know, and I think too with my kids too, they a couple of them are starting to get the gift of ear, right? You can hear something and you can play it. And that's something you're born with. You can't teach that.
Absolutely.
And that's something I had. I'd hear something on the radio and I could find it on the guitar. And people were like, that's a really strange gift you have there. I'm like, you know. But then I see my kids in the cell phone era. And I'm like, my God, I 100% believe I would have never developed my craft if I would have had a cell phone. Yeah. Because with the ADD brain always going in this and the stimulant and dopamines you get from staring at a screen, you know, if I would have had that, I would have never got good at guitar and songwriting and singing.
Yeah. I just always assumed that you were in that trailer playing guitar all the time, just kind of.
I mean, early on it was, yeah.
But yeah,
But then I
he had
wanted to go next level.
He had a hurdle that he had to really
serious with it.
overcome.
I think it started hurting my chores.
Yeah.
So
really, that's interesting. And what was the first song that you wrote? Did you record it, or did you?
I recorded with last name was Brock, I think. He's an insurance guy in Butte, and I recorded my first songs with him when I was like 15.
Yeah.
And it was a little band called Alive and Well. Me and Brody Hackman and Matt recorded these songs, and then I recorded an acoustic album a year or two later called Jackson House with these love songs. I was trying to have a John Mayer phase. And then I met these basketball players from Tech, and I wore a do-rag for a year. That was cool. I went through these different phases of finding myself.
Yeah.
But I was doing hip-hop stuff with those guys.
Really?
Next door, Don and Juan, yeah. That was a pretty funny era. A lot of people forgot about those guys. They were around Butte, and I teamed up with them. We were doing hip-hop tracks, and I discovered I was terrible at smoking pot.
You were good at that? Huh?
No, terrible. Couldn't function. Anxiety attacks.
No kidding? Because you mentioned it in a lot of songs.
I do, but I'm not. I cannot handle THC. Absolutely not.
No kidding.
Right?
I just assume by listening to your songs that you at least, a couple hits a day.
I've occasionally, if I need to shut my brain off, take a sleep gummy, but I have to be like locked in a room in a safe spot, deadbolts locked. I don't know how people.
They make you paranoid.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I take them to sleep sometimes.
Yeah. You got to do the super light dose.
Yeah.
Like super light dose. And I do occasionally. And I got off it because I was like on it every night to sleep. I got dependent on it. It was like a very light dose THC. Then you have a CBN, CBD, and like melatonin.
Yeah.
And I was like, or you could try to do a workout and make yourself tired and do it the healthy way. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, at this age, I'm 40 now. I'm like, I need to be healthier. So
yeah. So your Uncle Randy.
Old Uncle Randy, fresh out the clink.
I love that line. What did he think about that? Couldn't flush it all down the bathroom sink.
He loved it. And he's got I think he's on in Turnaround Town. He's the voice in the intro.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that introduced me to the Wise River Club because he'd always take us fishing out here.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So, and he was.
Is he still around?
No, he passed away on the 4th of July, probably 10 years ago, 5 years
What
ago.
was his last name?
Randy Hammond.
Randy.
Quite a character.
I love that. I love that at the end of Turnaround Town when he says, "Hey, just keep that guitar. It's good luck for you.
Yeah.
Love you,
so
buddy."
he had a lot to do with. He was a rough and tumble guy. Loved bar fights. The Butte Silverbow police probably spent a lot of time trying to track him down.
Yeah.
Question him on things.
Yeah.
He had one eye, glass eyeball. He'd sneeze, it'd pop out. Smoke, 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Yeah. You could spot elk from 600 yards with one eye, though. And he'd be like, "There's a bull on that hill, bud." Like, what? He was just a rough and tumble, like Butte character, right? Just loved the bars, bar fighting, chaos, and might have been jail or prison a time or two, but who's judging?
Yeah.
But
that's a true story, though, about couldn't flush it all down the bathroom sink.
He was a derelict at times.
Yeah.
And I hung out with a cast of characters that would always be cops drive by that all hide behind the garage. But he would always make sure he taught me a couple chords when I was real young. He gave me a couple guitars. He always had a soft spot in his heart for me. It was real sweet to me. So
yeah. And was he a mechanic? Is that?
He was a little bit of everything.
Just kind of
wheeled
jack of all trades.
And if he sold you a gun, he'd tell you not to register it. You're like, okay.
Oh, and did you have a lot of guns growing up? Because I know you're a big gun guy. I think one time I shared something that was borderline gun control-ish.
Yeah.
And you called me out on Facebook because I just share, because I'm not I don't have a gun myself, but I'm not a big gun control guy by any stretch of imagination because I realize we can't go take everybody's guns.
I used to write a lot of dumb shit on the internet. Now I'd stay away from it.
Yeah, we got to tell O'Neill to stay away from it too. People always say, Rob O'Neill said this. Like, well, if you talk to him and not listen to one sentences at a time, you realize he's a pretty smart guy.
I don't even mess with Twitter much anymore.
Yeah.
TikTok, Twitter, not my thing. Instagram, Facebook, a little bit more. But yeah, I'm grew up hunting, fishing, and and you live out in the woods, you kind of need one.
Yeah.
It's not just the bears you have to worry about.
Yeah,
There's a thing up here called crystal meth. And when people get on it, they behave very strangely.
Yeah. So who's Cowboy Joe? Who was that song about?
He was a guy, I'm going to forget his last name. He had a ranch over near Phillipsburg. Joe Demers. Joe and Lacey Demers, and their little boys were like pretty famous bronc riders.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah,
little tiny kids that were like riding these little mini horses, going crazy. And I met him, and he told me that he broke his neck, and they put a halo on him, and he rode off in the back country. And I'm sitting there listening to the story, and then I look at his little boys, looking at him like he's an angel or Jesus. And he's talking. He's like, yeah, and he goes, I stitched my hat to my halo when I was out riding with my neck broke.
Okay.
And I was like, hat like a halo.
Yeah.
And I ran into the closet and wrote that song in like 10 minutes and came out, and I saw a tear in that old cowboy's eye when I played it for him. That's still my daughter and wife's favorite song.
I love that song. It's the Copenhagen smile and a hat like a halo.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can see it. Just a description of a Copenhagen smile.
I was looking at him just dumbfounded, like, this dude is legend. This is like real cowboy shit I'm listening to. And then I looked at his little boys, look at him, and I was like, they're admiring him. And I think I missed that stuff from my childhood because I didn't really have a male figure to look up to until later in life. And that just like hit me like a freight train.
Yeah.
I went in the closet and I was like, he wore his hat like a halo. He can't walk on water. He can go anywhere the wind blows.
That's a great song. It's one of my favorites of your songs.
Thank you.
You know,
my wife and daughter too.
Yeah, I listened. Of course, as I told you, I listened to a lot of them, and I play a lot of them. And one time I had your playlist on, and I have the playlist, and it was a couple, like 3 of them in a row, as everyone's after a baseball game, we're waiting for our kids, and it's just playing. And then I realized that the next song coming up is Reno, and I had to run up the stairs.
Experience too.
I had to run up the stairs to hit stop before it got to the part where they were going to take away my ability to be the PA announcer anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't work out in country music for me. What were you in Reno? Oh, a lot of things.
Yeah, but yeah, that was just a great tune as well.
Yeah. And we've got a whole record. It'll be done probably by December 4th. 15 new songs.
Nice.
I'm really excited because some of my first memories of music were dancing in Big Arm or Ronan with the tribe up there. I'm assuming that was like Salish Kootenai. I can't recall. Yeah. But I danced in a powwow. And the music like stayed with me since I was 4 or 5. My mom took me there. And so I've wanted to have something where I could go get some native performers on. So I got this song called Watch Me Drown. I wrote Here on the Big Hole. It took me a while to write it. I started about addiction and enablers, just watch me drown, just people that just like here and for their entertainment want to see your demise. Yeah. And then that turned it into demise. I'm like, man, I listened to like 100 hours of Native American audiobooks. I'm always listening to the old Western stuff and listen to a few audiobooks on different Native stuff. And I was like, what if I spun this song into also Native issues, like leave me here, let me drown, never more to roam, weird lyrics like that. So then I went to Crow Fair. And well, I always get these ideas in my head and I'm like, there'll be a sign, right, that this is the right path. And then I got an award from the tourism governor's office in Helena for cinema and my YouTube videos and stuff that have blown up. And I met a guy, Sean Backbone, that got up there and he does the Indian shootout every year in Billings where he takes young natives and they shoot basketball.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool. And he spoke Native Crow and he had the whole crowd. He got up there and started screaming, yay, yay, and all this stuff. And it was like, I was like, wow, I thought I had a lot of energy. So I went and talked to him and I was like, hey man, I dug this. And he was a little standoffish, which I understand. A lot of natives are towards white people. And then I send him my little documentary thing of like, hey, I grew up in a trailer house, rough. I roughed it as a kid. I'm not some rich dude from Bozeman, right? And him and his wife watched that and they reached out and they're like, why don't you come to Crow Fair? And so I went to Crow Fair and I met a guy named First Crazy Dog. My buddy Mark recommended him. He's done film. Mark Brown helped me get in the movie industry. And then I saw a drum group called Wolf Bear, a bunch of young Crow kids, and I got them all in the studio. And there was 13 or 14 natives in the studio in Billings. And my producer in Nashville was like, what is he doing now? I just said, send me the track. I want to go record this. So I go in and record it, send it back to Nashville, got it mixed, and my label called and they're like, this is going to be a single that goes to radio. We've never heard anything like this. So it's like
it's awesome.
Metallica or Disturbed Crow style, right? They're literally chanting and praying and war drums in the song. And so we embark on this adventure Monday for 4 days to go film 2 music videos in the new photo shoot for the record. So there's a big crew, people from Nashville coming, record label, photographer Spidey Smith, director Richard Gray that did Unholy Trinity. Yeah. So I've got the crew from Unholy Trinity, a lot of them going to the reservation with me. And we're going to show Crow We're going to show their people, their traditions. It's going to be
awesome.
really cool. I've got relay riders, dancers, singers, drummers, ranchers, and we're just going to show. And it was like, what's it going to be? What's this video? I'm like, if you watched American Thread in Butte, it's going to be just like that, except crow country.
No.
Right? We're just going to showcase people almost like docu style. So
yeah,
and
that was a good video.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I want to get just, this life is rough on the reservation.
Yeah.
But it's something magical and spiritual about how they come back to their traditions that have been around for hundreds of years, right? They're dancing, they're smudging, they're praying, their language. And I think that's so fascinating that, no matter how rough it gets, they still have their faith. And they're just I think Robert Redford said it, the natives are children of the earth and we are not.
Yeah.
And when I went there, we talked about the bison and I learned some Crow language. There's still a Hogajila and Kahe, and they're like teach you, and they laugh every time when I call them. I start talking Crow. I'm like, hey, okay, I don't speak full Crow. I just know a few words. But
that's great.
They were talking about bison and the creator, Akbata deer, and I get outside and all I'm thinking about is the crow and the bison and the creator. And I'm driving through the Badlands of North Dakota, and I've driven by this crucifix. You probably saw this on my social media. I've driven by this crucifix 100 times in the last few years. And I look up and there's a bison pawing on it on the edge of a cliff. And I pulled that giant coach over the trailer. My sound guys in the back, like, what the hell? As I ripped that thing sideways. And I'm like, I don't know if these guys are messing with me, but what is that? And he's like, holy shit. Looks out there, he's like, that's a bison pawing on a crucifix.
Yeah.
Literally like pawing at it. And so we sat there forever, and then more traffic started pulling over. I'm like, there's another sign.
Yeah.
It was very strange. And I put that on
awesome.
social media, and that photo exploded.
Yeah.
Even the lead singer, Papa Roach, commented on it. I was like, wow, I got the big boys out.
That's awesome. And you've dealt with some big boys too, because one of my favorite videos you have is Hillbilly Rich.
Yeah,
because you got
Rob
O'Neill. Because I've known Rob. I don't remember not knowing Rob.
Right,
I'm so long.
That's pretty funny. Don't remember not knowing.
Yeah, and he just seeing him in the video, and that kind of led to. Didn't he introduce you to Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, he introduced me to Charlie Sheen, Kid Rock. Rob was a huge help, man. When he got out of the military, and it started with Butte America. I went into Tom O'Neill's studio in Butte. So he was debuting Butte America, and I saw a picture of a guy in camouflage on the wall. And I'm like, who's that? That's my brother. What's he do? He's a Navy SEAL. I'm like, what team? He goes, I don't know. He lives on the East Coast. And I'm like, oh, Team 6.
Wow.
And I was a big military nerd when I was a kid.
No, really? Yeah.
Oh, big time. I'd run in combat boots, and I'd watch Navy SEALs and Rambo. And I had my mom about killed me because I had recruiters at the house all the time when I was 17, and she never would sign. You could do that pre-sign up.
Yeah.
And then I applied for music school, and she said she prayed every day that I'd get into music school and not do the military stuff. So I got into music school and went that path. And that's why I think I do so much stuff for vets, because part of me is like, oh, man. And Chris Kyle's dad told me once, if you didn't serve, it's your duty to serve those that did. And I struck a chord. I'm like, hey, didn't serve, total civilian, fascinated with military, love what they do for us, appreciate our freedoms and their sacrifices. Let's always raise money for them.
Yeah.
So that's been my way of helping out. But yeah, so what was I talking about?
Well, so then you watch Navy SEALs.
Yeah. So back to Rob. Yeah. So he gets out, Tom O'Neill gave me his address, and I sent him a letter and a song called "Freedom's Never Free" to Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever the heck it was, and he got out and reached out to me. He was like, hey man, I appreciate you doing that and being cool to my brother, and got a crazy story. And that's when the documentary of the Fox thing came out. And so then he's like, I want to help you out. So he was playing my music on Fox. He introduced me to Kid Rock, Charlie Sheen. A lot of people helped connect to a lot of dots. So he's great.
And then you got to be in that pink Cadillac. Was it pink Cadillac or pink car? The
old Cutlass.
Cutlass.
Yeah, from the movie Navy SEALs.
Yeah,
she brought it out.
Yeah, because you got to ride in that as you were filming.
I almost died in that car. You asked Rob about that. When the ditch almost flipped over on top of me. That was fun. I even told Rob, I'm like, man, I almost got hurt. He goes, I'm not going to candy coat this. You almost died. Yeah. And I was like, was that bad? He says it.
Yeah, he'd know a thing or two about it.
He knows about that stuff.
And that was for mostly Stone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Charlie directed that.
That ended up getting me my record deal.
Yeah. And that's a song that the cool story about what I really like about you is what Okers told me. You called him up and you gave him a writing credit for that.
Yeah, because he said the title, and the interesting thing is you can't copyright a title. You can go write Sweet Home Alabama right now. As long as you're not ripping off the chords, melody, and lyrics, you cannot copyright a title. But he had said, many Christmases ago. I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Mostly stoned," and that stuck with me for a year or two. And Kyle Reif plays the Wise River Club was with me one day when my buddy Matt came in, and he had a piano and he just started playing it. And it's like that song had been bouncing around, or that title had been bouncing around my head since Chad Oakers said it to me. I think it was at Headframe Spirits where he said it.
Yeah.
And then this guy just played this piano intro, and I'm like, I want to write a song called Mostly Stoned. And then when we were done, I said, we got to give Chad a little piece of it. It was his title.
Yeah.
But again, that was just something.
Well, it was pretty cool. It's something you didn't have to do.
Yeah.
But I thought that said a lot about you.
Yeah.
Doing that. And he told me he got a writing credit.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, well, what song? I go, was it River Kids? And he said, no, it's Mostly Stoned.
Yeah.
because Chad's a big River guy. I thought maybe he helped with the line on that, which is another great song I like a lot.
Yeah.
It was just playing when I came on, right when I got on the River Kids came on.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So when you film this movie, I know we got to get going here in a few minutes, but you got to get going anyway.
There's your alarm.
That's my mom. I calls all the time. Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, that movie, he's such a good villain in everything he does. Just to look in his face, you know, and he's great in that. What was he like off? Was he MFing and all that stuff like he talks?
He MF'd me because so I was in the mud beating on that kid, Brandon Lassard is a great actor.
Yeah.
And we're going hard and trying to sell this scene. And we practiced the stunt scene on wrestling mats the day before. You know, you go to rehearsal and you train on that. And it was funny because the stunt coordinator, Dizzy, British guy, he does all the 007 stuff. Daniel Craig stunt, legendary stunt man. He's like, we got in there and started wrestling and sparring and stuff. And he's like, oh, I thought like, first of all, I was like, oh, a musician that's trying to be an actor. Great. This is going to be awesome. And he goes, oh, he wants to do his own stunts. This will be awesome. And then I got on the wrestling mat with him for like 20 minutes. He's like, I didn't know you went this hard, dude. Jesus. I'm like, I'm from Butte. I've been beat up a time or two, so I can sell it.
Yeah.
And so we got in there and started beating each other up in the mud. And then it was funny as hell because I'm on top of them and I hear cut, and they cut all the cameras. And Sam and his team, they just walk on camera when they're ready, right? So he just rolls in, and I turn around and I see two ginormous black guys that are completely jacked, just huge, and they're his bodyguards.
Yeah.
And I look, I'm like, what's up? And they don't say anything. And then I hear this booming voice say, where's Tim at?
Yeah.
And I could definitely recognize it as Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he knows my name.
That's pretty cool.
Then he comes up, he's like, Tim, I'm Sam. I'm going to pull your hair and slit your throat. How hard do you want your hair pulled? And I said, as hard as you want, Mr. Jackson. Been waiting for you to kill me my whole life. He busted out laughing, and that's where I got him. Right?
Yeah.
I started with a joke. He liked it.
Yeah.
So then he's like, all right, Tim. And then he's like, let's do this. And they wired him up with blood and pumping all that stuff. And right before he goes to slit my throat, he stops and he says, how am I going to see this motherfucker's throat with this motherfucking beard? And I'm like, he's holding my hair as he's saying that. I'm like, sir, I'll present my throat this way. And he's like, damn. We do it. One take. I fell a little hard. I cut my nose when I fell, but I just wanted to like do a good job.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah. I hit the mud and I was like, ow.
Yeah.
My nose is bleeding. But that ended up being a really cool thing. And then afterwards, I don't know if he has superhuman hearing or what, because I whispered to the director who's doing these videos with me this week. I whispered, I said, hey, you think you'll get a photo with me? And Sam doesn't even look up. He's across this pin. I'm talking 10, 15 yards away.
Yeah.
And he goes, I know what you want, Tim. Come on. And he motions me over and he gets a picture of me.
That's awesome.
Like, sweet. Now that picture's hanging here on the wall, and they gave me the special effects people are like, hey, do you want your severed head? Because they had to match it. They had to make a dead body of me.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you want your severed head? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So we put it in a glass case, and my mom hates it. It's in the Wise River Club because we got plenty of elk and deer and antelope heads. We needed a Tim head.
Yeah. That's it. Well, you talk about your mom a lot in shows.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you talked about her at, I think it was American Dream in the video where you got the little lanyard that said her fourth marriage or fourth time's a charm.
She don't like that.
Yeah.
I harass my mother a lot.
Yeah. But I love that mom when she got married for the fourth time again.
Yeah. She's still to this day like, not my favorite song.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, but I mentioned Bonanza Freeze. Yeah. And I went to Bonanza Freeze. They gave me a milkshake.
That's what I was going to say. Do you get free milkshakes every time you go to Bonanza Freeze?
I did. I got one. I like to support small business, but he did see me in line one day. He's like, hey, this milkshake's on me. I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah. I play that all the time at the Legion games. Yeah. And I play Hangover a lot too.
Oh yeah. There's so many things in Butte that are unique, that are Americana, that just connect with other people that I just, we're doing the photo shoot in Butte Monday, and it's just like, I like to just show off all of it. It's just such a unique place. And I understand why they call it Butte America, because as I've traveled all over Montana, I'm like, oh, this is not really Montana. It is Montana.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. We talk different with different traditions. Even the state was funny when they're out here talking about gambling. They're explaining the laws, scaring the crap out of me, the Department of Justice people. He's like, yeah, and he's like, these damn Butte people. Like, we tell them that's illegal in the state of Montana. And he goes, then they go to Helena and get the damn laws changed. And I'm like, yeah, sounds like Butte people.
Yeah.
They're going to find a workaround every time.
Yeah. Butch Starin always says we're 5 minutes from Montana.
Right.
In Butte.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're out here at the world famous Wise River Club, Wise River, Montana. And how long have you had this place now?
Bought it in August of 2023.
Okay. So, was that kind of like, were you thinking about getting out of music then?
Man, I wasn't going to get out of music. I was going to get out of the machine.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had a hunch I was going to lose my record deal, because those country records, even some of the songs you were quoting didn't do that good. It got the labels.
They should have. Yeah.
Got me a record deal, but nothing went to radio and made, a real return on investment. So I had a hunch I was going to get dropped. So I recorded a song called Devil, and figured we'd go full rock on it, turned it in kind of as a middle finger, and moved to Montana and didn't tell anybody. Even my manager at the time was not happy.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm like, I'm just kind of over it, dude. Like, I'll make music forever, but I'm going to go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah.
And have a life up here. And it was important to have my kids raised near where I was raised. And it was weird because the day this place closed, it was like up in the air when it was going to close. But we got up. My family moved here in July. I was backpacking, but it was random day was going to be when the liquor license and all that transfer went through. And it was August 23rd, 2023 when we closed on this. And then right before that, I get a call from my label thinking I'm getting drops. And there's people on the call that, why would they be on this many important people on a call to fire somebody?
Yeah.
You could just have the janitor do this. And they're like, hey, we think you have a hit song. We'd like to announce to you your first time in a 20-year career. Your official radio ad date is August 23rd, 2023. And I'd prepared myself to get fired. I was all like, I didn't prepare myself to get my dreams, dream come true call.
Yeah.
So of course I started bawling and almost crashed my truck. I was like, this is not what I was prepared for. Right? Yeah. And then that song went out, and then iHeartRadio made it on The Verge, and it skyrocketed into the top 40, and then the top 20, and then the top 10, and then the top 5. And I was like, huh. And then I realized life got complicated because I thought things would slow down a little bit being in Wise River, and I'd do things on my terms and play the Wise River Club and play around Montana. And then I'm thrown on 3 U.S. tours back to back, Bush and Jerry Cantrell, and then I go Stained and Seether, and then I go Seether. We're just running laps around the United States. I mean, I played Boston 3 times, I think, in the same room, then Des Moines, Iowa 3 times in the same room it was crazy. So that's why I was like, I bought a bar and then ditched, got out of town. But I don't know, it's cool, right? So
do you still play a lot of the same songs when you go on tour?
I don't play the country stuff, right? Because it's not, if you're out with guys from Alice in Chains and Bush, Hillbilly Rich ain't going to work, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I play headline shows in Montana or acoustically at the Wise River Club, I play all the stuff people know up here. But for the national audience, I'm competing with hard rock and metal bands, right? So I can't, Hillbilly Rich don't work. So I got to play heavy stuff. You know? So it's been a
Hillbilly Rich should have been a #1 country song.
You'd think, man. You would think, right? People
it should have made you Hillbilly Rich.
I know. And then people got added to the highway on Sirius XM, and we thought for sure it was going to go. And labels called me, and they watched it, and they did research, and fizzled. And I was like, God, I've had so many almost moments, right?
Yeah.
And then the one that wasn't almost was Devil, and I was like, wow. And then I remember sitting here in the bar decorating for Christmas last year when they announced the most played artist on national radio and rock and roll in 2024. And I was reading, I knew I'd be top 5, which was crazy to me. And then Loudwire does an article and researches both Billboard and Media Base, and I was the #1 most played artist in the United States in 24. And I was like,
no kidding. No.
Holy shit. I found that out here, and everyone was like, will you stop crying all the time? I'm like, this is weird. I just wasn't ready for this. I was bowed up and ready to be all pissy about being fired. I wasn't ready for my shit to come true at 39.
Yeah. Well, now you got, this place seems like something really big going on every weekend out here.
Yeah. We're doing Nashville songwriters, and Kyle Reif is great. I mean, he was discovered by Jimmy Buffett and toured. He was on the Taylor Swift Red Tour.
Yeah.
Like, he knows Taylor, Ed Sheeran, Darius Rucker. Yeah. And the guy's like a musical mastermind. And with Billy Gibbons owning this place with me, the artist rolling through, and we're about to do some phase 2 stuff for next year. And I just, it's kind of was my retirement dream, but I figured you better start now, right?
Yeah.
To get it built up. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
I thought the music business was tough. This shit is tough, right?
Yeah.
And just figuring it out. But it's cool. It's great to be able to support people in the valley that live up here, you know, and they're on payroll. And the good news is I have a day job, so I don't have to depend on the money made here because there ain't none. You know, breaking even is like a win. You're just like, victory. I paid my staff and I broke even.
Yeah, small business owners.
It's tough, man. I feel for small business.
Well, and then you shut your business down for a long time just to cook for the firefighters.
For the firefighters, because that was a big deal. They didn't have food trucks. They didn't have any catering. So then I hired a crew from Nashville to come up, Beach Pig Barbecue. They actually met them with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
They taught Dave Grohl how to barbecue. So they were here for 3 days. Funny as shit. Those guys were just, I love having my Southern buddies here trying to talk to Butte people because I have to translate. I'm just like, maybe I can help you guys with this. I speak both languages.
Yeah. So before I know you got a conference call here in a few minutes, but Billy Gibbons, would you guys have been friends and met if you were clean shaven? If you were like me,
probably not. We started with a song called "This Beard Came Here to Party." So. Yeah.
Now, and that's when you go to Boston, do you still play that?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's on my little short list of if I run out of songs. That's one of those pretty rock and roll songs that we can pull off.
Well, and that was on that video was huge with that song with the Red Sox.
Oh, again, that was one of those moments.
What timing that was, the Red Sox with their beards that year. You know,
it was total accidental. And then meeting Billy was just crazy. And I thought for sure that was the one that was going to be a hit, break me through. And it got a lot of, we were on the cover of, I think, USA Today Sports when that hit. And went to every, my buddy was in a hotel in like Kansas. He's like, they slid a paper under the door. Just you with the Boston Red Sox. It was a cool deal, But it's like all those moments you think, is this it? Is it going to break me through and get me there? And you're like, no, but it's the next step, right?
Yeah.
And I've never been allowed to skip steps. I've been a guy that I'm like thinking I want to skip 3 steps. Like, no,
not going to happen.
I get my ego knocked down real fast, 1 step at a time.
Yeah. Well, and how old are you now? 40 years old.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I won't. It's our secret. So
when I'm 42, I can date women half my age that can legally buy me a drink, right?
Yeah.
My wife's gonna hate that joke.
Yeah, she's not gonna like it at all.
That's the only reason I'm looking for.
But you have is that song? Okay, that song "Save the Day."
Yeah.
Were you in trouble? And you had to get out of trouble with that one?
No, I just I heard that line somewhere. Living with a man, mama wasn't done raising her.
Yeah.
Maybe my mom said that. Someone else can raise him because my wife married me when I was pretty young. She's 6 years older than me, maybe 7.
She looks way younger.
Older the pan, better the cooking, right, folks?
Yeah.
She is made of cast iron. I'll tell you that. Don't mess with her. Now she's in the restaurant business. Be careful. But I think my mom said that when she married me. I was like 21 or 22, and she said, "Finally, someone else to continue raising him."
Yeah.
And so I wrote that song.
Yeah. And she's still raising you. Right?
Oh yeah. I raise hell, she raises me.
Well, Tim, I really appreciate your time, and
thank you, man. Glad it finally happened.
Yeah, I love just like I said, I just love your music. I'm not just saying that. I've listened to so many songs that I can sing along songs I hadn't heard in a couple of years. Come on, and I'm listening. I'll tell Alexa to play Tim Montana, and songs I want to always sing along with them. And I'm just a big fan of that. And I just think you're just a great person. That's the way you treated my son when we met you in 2016.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's great. And I think it's great what you're doing out here. And I appreciate your time. And I can't wait to hear that new album.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.